Right, welcome back to another Rustin Crafts production. We'll be doing a full time-lapse build of Tamiya's Pink Panther Land Rover. I started out by cutting out all the parts for the first stage, which was building the chassis. These were quite a good fit, and I used Tamiya extra thin cement to cement them together. At this point you're required to assemble the exhaust and fit it, but I fitted it later as I thought it would be easier to paint than it was. It was just a wee bit harder to fit into the kit. Assembled the axles as well. Now this kit was from 1976. So it is actually quite an old Tamiya kit. Put on the leaf spring suspension, which was all very detailed and very nice and crisply moulded. Although round quite a lot of the parts were seam lines, which was unfortunate, but with a scrape of a knife they were all gone. And then assembled the wheels. There was 5 wheels in total. There was obviously the 4 main ones and the spare one. The 2 front ones had sort of rectangular pins sticking out of them, and they all spun individually, and the kit actually had front wheel steering, which was also pretty good. I attached the wheels after painting though, as I'd have to paint the tyres, and that would have been pretty difficult if I'd put them on before painting. Could have taken them on off again after, but it was just a bit of a hassle, so I just left them off and it was easier. And attach the chairs. They're nicely detailed, although they were a bit hollow in the back. There should have been some detail to the back of them because there wasn't any. I mean, you can't see it really that much on the finished model, but. Assembled the sort of front portion of the Land Rover with the bonnet and the grille and stuff. These did fit together well, and I also left these unglued, and I never actually glued them at all on the finished model. And it just allows me to take them off because in case I wanted to take the driver out or maybe modify it in the future. There was an indent in the bonnet for the spare wheel, which is probably where the original Land Rover would have had it mounted, but because this was the S.A.S desert version, it was mounted on the front. I'm not sure if they would have also had one on the bonnet, but instead of that having the spare wheel on the bonnet, it had a sort of rag type net piece. Also, during the sort of fitting of the handbrake, I believe it was a bit unclear where that was supposed to go. I accidentally put it in the wrong place, but I took it off and positioned it in the correct place. Then I assembled the figure, first figure I've ever painted, and I put him in the kit and then glued his arms so they'd be holding the steering wheel properly. Then I painted him using Humbrol 26 khaki for his uniform. Just applied this with a brush. A couple coats did it for me. Then used Humbrol 61. I'm mixing a bit of white with this because I found it a bit too sort of deep and dark, so painting that on his face and on his arms. Then used Tamiya XF4 yellow green for his hat. Tamiya XF1 for his boots and for his badge on his hat. Then gave him a wash. This was a chalk wash consisting of, well, it was weathering powders, just brown weathering powders. Then assembled the bed. This was really nicely and crisp, and there's quite a lot of detail in there. Like there's even a lettering on the Land Rover badge. Another thing I did find about this kit is it doesn't actually tell you to paint the tail lights or sort of indicators on it, or the smoke canisters, which I found a bit weird because I painted them black. I found that from reference photos. And also, it never gave you a colour for it. It just said desert pink, which could be any colour of pink. And we added the smoke canisters on. And I assembled parts of the machine gun. Fortunately, the machine guns, you had to paint, well, it'd be harder. I had to leave them off for painting, so I had to paint some parts that attached the machine gun, which were also painted separately. Then used Vallejo surface primer grey and painted the whole model in it. I didn't give it an all over coat, just something for the paint to bite into, so you could still see the paint through it. Then cleaned it using media airbrush cleaner. Then I mixed up. I used 1 part red, Tamiya XF7 flat red, to 10 parts XF2 flat white to create the colour for this kit. I just mixed it up in a wee humble pot that you get with the starter sets and the gift sets, etc. Stirred it up really well. I did add quite a bit of paint in there just because I didn't put 10 drops in versus 1 drop. I used more than that. I thinned it down with a bit of Tamiya thinner as well, just so it would run through the airbrush nicely. I then painted it over the whole model. If I was going to build this model again, I would definitely pre-shade the underside black, or just a heavier coating of the pink colour, as I think it came out a bit too pale. Paint the wheels as well. And then painted all the seats, Tamiya XF57 buff. It didn't actually recommend any colours in the instructions, it would just label it as flat black or dark green, etc. It didn't label this as buff, but I think the instructions were made before Tamiya did paints. I'm not certain of this, but this is just a guess. Then pinned down some Revel number 8 flat black, and I painted all the tyres on. I started off using a humble colour brush number 4, but then I changed to a number 1 as it was easier with a finer brush. Assembled some of the sort of cargo and stuff for the on the truck, and then I attached the wheels. I used just regular Revel contactor for this, as it's a bit stronger than the Tamiya Extra Thin, and it's a bit thicker as well, so it doesn't flow into places you didn't want to. Picked up some of the accessories black, like the gun handles and the radio. Painted the rest of the radio pink, as I forgot to attach it to the kit whilst painting. Painted the actual gun sort of barrel a metallic grey colour, which I mixed myself. And then I painted some little boxes in between the seats, a dark green colour, and also used this for the magazine on the front machine gun. Then attached all the accessories, such as the range finder. There was a small pickaxe you could attach, but there wasn't any locating pins or anything for it, so I just left it out. I then gloss varnished it with Revel number 1, which is clear gloss. This is the first time using it, and I think it went down well. One thing I would recommend is you have to spray it down wet, so there's a decent covering. Then give it a light brown weathering powder wash. Over the whole kit. I only did half of it to show in a video, and the other half was done after, not on video. It took me quite a long time to apply this into all the recesses. Then used a damp cotton bud and wiped off all the excess. I then mixed Humbrol 118, 113 and Revel 17 to make a mixture, sort of varied rust shade. I then used a sponge and dabbed more of it on to give a sort of uneven look. Then attached it to the model. Also applied some weather and powders to this exhaust. And a wee bit of black to the tip. Then clear coated it using Tamiya XF86 flat clear. And this basically just seals all the weathering in so it doesn't rub off accidentally. And then I used Tamiya XF57 buff to give a light dusting onto it, like sand and dust was on it. Then painted up the lights. I used the gloss black to start, and then I covered that with metal colour aluminium. And then for the indicators, I used some XF4, some clear orange, and then I added some chipping effect. Right, it is done. I have now finished the Tamiya S.A.S Pink Panther Land Rover. Overall, it was a really good build. I really enjoyed it actually. It's a bit of a change from just the usual 72nd scale aircraft. I'd recommend this kit for everybody. A couple of complaints I had about it, they're very minor, is the paint diagram. It didn't specify to paint the lights or the canisters or anything, the smoke canisters, so I found that a bit bizarre. They could have mentioned that, and also just more accurate colours. They could have given you a remedy, but I think, as I said before, the kit was so old it didn't actually, Tamiya paints never existed, but they could have updated the instructions a bit. I'm presuming that kit hadn't been sitting in the model shop for the last sort of 30 years. 40 years. Weathering wise, I think I weathered it fine. As you saw, I did with the chalk wash, well, the weathering powder wash. And at the end, I'd also like to mention, at the end of the time lapse, got a bit confused with the colouring of the lights. It was Tamiya X1 gloss black, and then it was Vallejo metal colour, just aluminium. And then it was clear orange and clear red. Clear orange is X26 and clear red's X27. So my first time doing a figure on a kit. I think he came out really well. I wouldn't say he's the best that I've seen, but I'm not like trying to boast or anything, but he's good for my standards, as in like a first row. I'm thinking. The exhaust, you didn't really see that much in the time lapse, but I did get quite a good rusting effect on that using the stippling with a bit of sponge. I don't think there's much else to say about the kit. Yeah, here's the pink colour, so I think it's a bit too light, to be honest, for the actual V-trail going off reference photos and stuff. And these wee cans here, I'm not sure what colour they're supposed to be. I'm pretty sure they're pink, but I can always change it later. So yeah, just a couple of things I want to tell you what they are. These parts here, these sort of railings, they were used to stick under the wheel and sort of get out the sand if it ever got stuck. Obviously the searchlight here, the searching in the dark. I actually used a bit of foil tape on that to make it reflective. And yeah, really nice details for 76 mould. You've got the Land Rover badge on the back and on the front. Wheels, you've got steering on here. Yeah, there are some smaller parts, as I said. So yeah, I'm on Facebook. I mentioned this in my last video, just if you hadn't seen that. There's an inbox review, and so yeah, it's just Rust and Customs. So follow if you'd like. You'll see previews of stuff. This was up on there a couple days ago. Obviously not finished, but yeah. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new uploads. Goodbye. Oh yeah, one last thing I forgot to mention just there, just add it on here. The tent thingy that went on the back, I'm not sure what it was, but some sort of drape. I never added that in the end as I thought it wasn't that realistic. Well, I'm not sure. It was just quite hard, and I think it covered up quite a lot of the nice details on the back. And I didn't really weather it right, so I left that part off. There was also some quite well detailed chains that held it up. Unfortunately, there's holes for them still where you locate them, and I'm not sure if that was ever removed from the kit, but I just left it off. Same with the pickaxe along here, just left that off as well. So yeah, sorry for coming back. It was yeah, so don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching right to the end. Goodbye.